Well, my name is Soon Li Teh from Washington State University. It's my distinct privilege to be able to chat with you today, Professor David Creech.
Right.
Can you share with us what position you hold and what is your horticultural specialization?
I'm at Stephen F. Austin State University in Nacogdoches, Texas, which is in deep East Texas, about 40 miles from the Louisiana border, so pine trees. I'm semi-retired. I have a half-time position. I spent 33 years as a professor there, and I was primarily a teacher, but I also did a lot of research with blueberries and ball cypress and ornamentals and substrates, and did a lot of work in the international spectrum. So I've worked in China and Nepal, many different countries. Was blessed that I had an administration that let me travel and encouraged it. And so any word of advice for young faculty, I always say collaborate and travel. And I used to tell students that life does not end at the Angelina River. It's a little bit of everywhere.
Did you grow up with a background in horticulture?
Yes, I was a bachelor's degree, graduated in 1970 at Texas A&M in horticulture. I was in fruit. I did my master's at Colorado State in vegetable production, and I came back to Texas A&M in fruit physiology. But I broadened my spectrum at my university to ornamentals and other crops as well.
Wow. Seems like you dabbled your career in a lot of different facets.
Did, enjoyed it. You know, people ask why do you work so hard? I said, never worked a day in my life, actually, because horticulture's been a very gratifying field for me. And working with students and grad students and in academia, it's let me collaborate with all kinds of folks.
Wow. So, how would you describe the importance of horticulture in your life and your career?
My wife thinks it's everything, but it's not. I do have a life outside of horticulture, but I'm a plant geek. So in the ornamental world, we have 128 acres. I like to collect plant varieties like postage stamps almost. So if anybody thinks 350 Japanese maples is not enough, we have more. So I basically work with a lot of the universities and nurseries across the South and pull plant material into our garden and evaluate it on a long-term basis, which is not something that we actually do. One of my favorite plants is ball cypress, for instance, and we have the largest collection, I believe, in the United States of genotypes, and have done a number of master's and PhD projects on ball cypress. I like ball cypress because it can live 3,000 years, and my friends in China have been utilizing ball cypress for 50 or 60 years, and it's everywhere. They plant probably 100 times as many ball cypress trees as we do, because they look at that carbon capture, they look at the unique characteristics of that tree in wetlands, and they have capitalized on some of the genotypes through breeding programs.
If you get to select just one experience, the most rewarding experience in your career, what would it be?
Can't answer that one. There's been so many of them. I think there's one that kind of comes back to me. It was at Texas A&M University when I was a freshman in college, 1966. I had a boss, Dr. Hollis Bowen at Rutgers, came from Rutgers, New Jersey, studied under Childers. And we were planting the very first blueberries in Texas. And we were down at Butte, Texas, and he said, Dave, I want you to plant this first plant. I was just a freshman. And as I was planting it, he said, I want you to know that this may be the most significant moment in your entire career.
Wow.
And I said, I thought he was joking. I thought, I didn't think much of it. But later in life, I ended up working in blueberries for my whole career, really. Germplasm evaluation, culture, water quality, all the things that go into the care and culture of blueberries. And then later on in life, I was working in China with blueberries that had caught the wave. Blueberries are very expensive and very popular in China, and it's a cash crop of epic proportions. So I always look back on Hollis Bowen, J.B. Story, and my original mentors in the fruit and nut world. I'll never forget that as long as I live. Because he was right. I ended up working in blueberries my whole career.
That was almost prophetic.
It was.
Did you ever get a chance to stay in touch with him? And
No,
let him know?
I did not. He actually retired and passed away, so I did not. But I do know that blueberries have been a big part of East Texas horticulture for really since the late 1970s, early 80s. I mean, we have our problems with competition from Mexico and globally, really, but we still have a burgeoning industry.
Can you perhaps share with us how long have you been a member of ASHS and how has ASHS influenced your career?
Well, at Texas A&M, it was a mantra for the undergrad students, so I even competed in an undergraduate student competition on a paper, and then later in life I presented papers here, so it goes back to the late 1970s. To be totally honest with you, I put most of my attention on the Southern region. I'm a past president of the Southern region, ASHS. I've come to the national meetings many times, but the cost and other things, it is kind of focused on Southern region really in the last 20 years.
Well, in your long and illustrious career, what advice can you offer to young students and professionals aspiring to walk in your footsteps?
Collaborate, collaborate, collaborate. Really, everybody has talents, and other universities, in my case, have some resources that we're lucky. In my own case, we have a very good soils lab at Stephen F. Austin State University, and really it was my fulcrum to be able to get into some journal articles and grants, etc. And so without collaboration and multi-state and disciplinary, I work a lot with Texas A&M, Dr. Tim Hartman, Justin Shiner, Mung Gu, that kind of association with other universities, other researchers has been important to it. And I'd say for the youngest students, find out what you want to do, find out what you like, and pursue it with great vigor. And if you're interested in graduate school, when I graduated from college, 2% of the students graduating wanted to go on for a master's or PhD. It's 1/4% now. A lot of students do not want to go on for a master's or PhD for whatever reason, I don't know. But the master's and PhD for me was a great joy to learn and associate and have a lot of friends. So I chose to stay at a small state university for a lot of different reasons, and I have never regretted it. I had an administration that allowed me to travel, allowed me to do things, and supported my efforts internationally. Not all universities would do that, so being able to take off for 4, 5, or 6 weeks, then the university allowed that to happen all the time. I really do owe them a debt of gratitude.
Have you taken any sabbatical over your career?
I used to take a sabbatical every 5 years. I think we were allowed based on pubs and research, and I spent one of my most exciting was working with J.C. Ralston at the Ralston Arboretum, and I spent 6 months living in Raleigh, North Carolina, and studying his garden, really, the Arboretum there, and basically studying the philosophy and the strategies associated with that garden, which I have brought back to my university, and other sabbaticals and fruit, etc. So yes, I always take a sabbatical if you get a chance.
Yes. So, just out of curiosity, since you've done quite a bit of international travel, of all the international travel you've done, which one have you enjoyed the most?
Well, I'd have to say it's China. I worked with Nanjing Forestry University, Nanjing Botanical Garden for over 1994, what is that, 25 years, and I've been going every year until COVID, of course. I've basically been shut down for 2 years. And basically it's friendships, and it's kind of a guangxi thing, which means the art of relationships, time, trust, friendship, and experience. And my Chinese friends are very fast friends. I WeChat all the time with them, and I really miss going to China and having them come visit me too. So hopefully this pandemic will settle down and we can get back to traveling. I can go to China, but I'm not eager to spend 7 days in a hotel. I'm waiting for it to lighten up a little bit. Although Nepal, I spent 8 weeks in Nepal, and it kind of changed me philosophically in a lot of ways because it's such a slow. We did a lot of trekking, and you kind of have to get used to no connections to the outside world, and that always impressed me because it was so peaceful. Bhutan, and it makes an imprint on your personality. A lot of students think I'm courageous to go over there, and actually you're safer there than here. A lot of people don't understand that, and I would always say that you're a lot safer in China than you are in Nacogdoches, Texas, in certain sections of Nacogdoches. So if you get a chance to travel, the world's a big place. It leaves a person restless. I think Thomas Jefferson said that. Travel's a wonderful thing, but it leaves you restless because there's so much to do and so much to see.
Well, I have just one final question for you.
Surely.
What excites you the most in the future of horticulture industry and horticultural profession as a whole?
Well, I'd have to say it's what we can do with the genetics and germplasm that's out there. And I am a proponent, like all of us in horticulture, of preserving the germplasm, particularly wild germplasm. And that's one of our strategies at SFA is to pick on the rare, threatened, and endangered plants of East Texas and to see if we can reintroduce them into appropriate habitats. We call it climate change friendly plants for a 21st century Texas. We are looking at a lot of Mexico plant material. It's getting hotter, it's getting drier. Oh my God, it's terrible. I was 105 the other day in Nacogdoches, Texas. It's imperative that we get prepared for what is a changing climate and a changing world.
Thanks so much, Dave.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.